All right, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Trish Gosch. I am with Cohesive, and I am, thank you for joining our session today to talk about the new Maximo licensing model. Some of you may already be somewhat familiar with it. Others this may be your first exposure, but basically the intent is hopefully to if you have any, if there's any confusion you have, or the session will help clear some of that up. So without further ado, so this is just a high-level agenda of what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to start with some basic definitions that I think most of you are probably already aware of, right? But just to level set and make sure we're all on the same page. We know that Maximo has modules and applications, right? So a module is basically a grouping of like-related applications. So for example, in the screenshot to the right here, I'm highlighting inventory as a module. And underneath the inventory module, there are various applications that perform specific functions, right? So we've got item master where we set up our items. We've got inventory where we may, do issues, transfers, cycle counts, things like that, where we manage it. We may use the inventory usage as another tool for issuing parts, right? So, but each of these is a specific application, performs a specific function. It's all grouped underneath a single module called inventory. As you know, there's a whole bunch of other modules. There's assets, there's purchasing, there's work orders, there's planning, so on and so forth. And so when we get into the licensing, we're talking about all of those kind of traditional modules. From a security perspective, we know that we can give different levels of access to each of the applications. And the two that really matter from a licensing perspective is the read-only access and the save access or the write access. Obviously, if somebody has insert, then they also have to have the ability to save. So that would just be an automatic privilege that they would get. So, but these two security privileges are really what matter when it comes to Maximo licensing. Excuse me. Now, so I want to take just a couple minutes and talk about the traditional Maximo licensing types. And this is before the introduction of Maximo Application Suite and the application points, right? So we know that there are, I'll kind of start from the bottom level going up, right? We know that you have self-service users who may have access to only those applications that are under the self-service module. And when I say that, I'm talking about this module right here, right? If I were in a live system and I were to click on it, I would have like create SR, I would have view SR, I would have create desktop rec, view desktop rec. So it's limited to only those applications under that self-service module. If you have users where that's the only access they have, it's a free user. You don't have to have any licenses for them to access Maximo. Now, if they have anything else, then they're going to need some level of entitlement. Today, we have the next level up. We have our Express users. Express users are basically, fundamentally, it usually is our technicians, right? Or people, that deal with work orders on a regular basis, right? All they need to do is go in, maybe update their time, update the materials they use, maybe report some failures, make some comments. Again, whatever you're having them do on that, kind of completion or process during a work orders life cycle, those Express users generally fall under this category. Express users can also have read access to other non-administrative applications. And by that, I mean things like, maybe they have read access to assets or read access to inventory, or, maybe read access to PMs or something along those lines, right? So those Express users can have that read-only access, excuse me, to other non-administrative apps. From there, next level up is a limited use. Limited use is basically users that have save access in up to 3 non-administrative modules. So case in point, I may have a planner and that planner has save access to work orders. They might have save access to job plans, and maybe they have save access to purchase recs to go buy things or request services to get certain work done, right? So they've got save access in up to 3 different modules, and they would fall under this category of limited use. If they need a 4th module, so let's say they needed save access to assets or inventory or job plans, etc., then they would go to the next level, which would be a full use user, and basically from a licensing perspective, you could give them access to absolutely everything. Obviously, from a system integrity and a data integrity perspective, you're going to control what those end users can access. So again, that's just kind of high level, the traditional types. All of you today, if you haven't moved to AppPoints, you're probably on some version of these. So some of you may have a mixture of them. Some of you may have all of the full use. It really runs the gamut as far as what customers have. So as most of you know, or probably know, almost 3 years ago now, IBM introduced the Maximo application suite. And really what IBM did is they brought a bunch of products under one umbrella that really are all about managing your assets, managing the performance of your assets, tools to help you get to extend the asset, the longevity of your assets, reduce costs, etc. So everything we know and love about Maximo is now called Manage under the application suite. And I'm going to talk about that further in just a minute. But there are other tools that are under this umbrella. There's the Monitor, Health, and Predict, which are, asset APM tools or asset performance management tools that really are, help take you on a journey towards, getting more sophisticated with the maintenance activities that you do and getting more towards a predictive model. There's visual inspection, there's mobility, right? So all of these have been brought under the application suite, and all of them, as you'll see in just a minute, leverage the new application point licensing. So when I said that everything we know and love about Maximo is now called Manage, this is what I'm talking about, all right? You guys have probably seen this slide at some point in the past. Really it was all of everything that was available under Maximo, and I'm actually talking about the first 3 buckets here, right? There were add-ons that you guys could purchase. Let's say you wanted to roll out Maximo Scheduler or Maximo Mobile or calibration, or maybe you have need for one of the industry solutions, right? If you wanted to roll those out, you had to talk to your rep or talk to your business partner and say, hey, I need a license of this. And so you'd cut a PO, you'd get the license. Maybe if you liked it, you'd install it, you'd do a project, you'd buy more licenses and deploy it out across the organization. Now, once you guys make the shift to application points, you have entitlements to use anything that you see on this slide. So if you've been, thinking about, hey man, we've got a huge fleet, we'd really like to start, maybe take a look at Maximo for transportation. Or, hey, we've got some, our EH&S group, our, health, safety, and environment group. They need to do things like management of change or incidents or audits and surveys, right? Whatever it is, once you move to application points, you will have access to absolutely everything that you see here. So what is an app point? For those of you, you may have heard, or you may have other systems, enterprise systems in your organization that leverage tokens. Application points is very much like a token, right? I will have a pool of app points. As users log in, they will consume points. As they log out, they will release those points back to the pool. And again, like I said just a couple minutes ago, all of the products that are underneath the application suite umbrella leverage this app point entitlement. All right, so how many app points get consumed? So really, these are kind of the new licensing levels. All right, we still have self-service. So if you have users that only access those self-service apps, and when they log in, they're going to consume 0 app points. Next level up would be a limited use user. You'll notice Express is gone. Personally, I'm kind of happy about it because it was kind of so constrained. But the limited use user here is really equivalent to the limited use user in the traditional licensing model. So I can have save access in up to 3 modules. Now, the great thing is it can include, obviously, core manage or core Maximo, or it can include any of those industry solutions. Again, previously you would have had to buy them. Now you have access to them, as well as anything, for the most part, there's a couple of nuances, but for the most part, anything that's considered an add-on. Additionally, I mentioned that IBM has the new mobile product. It's called Maximo Mobile. It is now included within application points. So if you've been thinking about rolling out mobile and you want to take a look at it, by all means, we can help you. We can set up demos and whatnot for you. You can work with your business partners or your IBM reps that you currently work with today. But it is now included, and it is a full mobile tool that works both online and offline. Of course, for those of you that may have already made an investment in other third-party tools, those users will also fall under this limited category. And finally, right, if you guys decide you might be interested in Monitor, limited users would have access to that as well. Now, these users can be either concurrent or authorized. And you don't, from a licensing perspective, it's not like you have to say, oh, well, I want to buy 10 concurrent and 30 authorized. You just buy app points, and you'll have that pool of app points, and then you'll define, okay, here, maybe I have technicians. I'm a 24/7 operation, and I run across 3 time zones. So maybe I have 1,000 technicians, and at any one point in time, the high watermark is going to be 200 technicians getting in there. So you could have, a pool of concurrent app points is used for those folks to bounce in and out of Maximo as it's needed throughout the day. Likewise, you might have folks that spend a large portion of their day in the system. Like, I'll go back to that planner example. They might spend 50, 60% of their day in the system. So you might, rather than counting them as a concurrent user, you might say, you know what, I'm gonna make that person authorized. So when they log in, it's only gonna, I'm gonna fundamentally carve out 2 app points for that person. Now, once I exceed 3 modules, then it will either go up to base or premium. And really what's going to make the determining factor is whether or not you have an industry solution deployed. If you just have core managed, core Maximo, right, then your 4 or more modules will go from limited to base. If you have like oil and gas or T&D or one of those industry solutions, then your limited users, once they get 4 modules, they're going to bounce up to a premium. Additionally, if you want to roll out Maximo Scheduler, then this would be a base user or calibration or health or the new safety applications, right? So, and there's some additional add-ons. It would just bump up a level, a user from one level to the next. Just like limited, you can have concurrent or authorized users, so 10 versus 3 points respectively. And then finally with premium, it would be 15 points for concurrent or 5 for authorized. So again, this is, once you guys get to Maximo Application Suite, you'll define these levels, and you can change users, right? Maybe today somebody's a base and they take a different role and it's going to drop them down to a limited, or vice versa, right? Maybe somebody, turns into a power user, is going to go from, limited to premium. It just all depends on, how the profile and what you have deployed out to folks. Now, there are a few things that require require app points for installation. So for any of you that might have the SAP or Oracle specific adapters, these are the supported integration tools for SAP and or Oracle. It will consume 80 app points. So if you have those deployed today, you'll essentially need to park. So if you had, let's say, 1,000 app points as part of your pool, you would need to carve out 80. And it applies to production only. So you may have this adapter on dev test prod, but you'll only have to take out AppPoints for your production deployment. Likewise, if you have spatial, right, it's 20 AppPoints, and you decide to maybe want to use a new visual inspection or, or assist or whatever, you can see the corresponding AppPoints that in effect are install AppPoints and get parked outside of the normal or the overall pool that folks will access. All right. So, I've got a couple screenshots. I know, just in the interest of time, may not go through every single slide in detail here, but you are looking at this. These are screenshots from Mass 8, right? So we now have this administrative layer, this application suite layer. That's our overall umbrella. We will set up users here because, again, they could access. Maybe they're accessing manage, maybe it's manage and monitor, maybe it's manage and health, right? Whatever you guys decide to deploy throughout your organization. So here's just an example, right? Here's Hank Adams. Hank Adams is set up as, we have him defined as a concurrent user, right? So in here, it's part of this setup, right? You'll define whether they're concurrent, they're authorized, and you'll define what level they are. Now, out of the box, like when you first get started, like when you do the upgrade, there is some thought and work, a little bit of work that's going to need to go into this. Once you have everybody set up, there are a couple of cron tasks that are out there that will, now if I start to, add privileges, move privileges, things like that, it will start to, there are cron tasks you can turn on, automatically update that application suite layer for those specific users. Let's see. One of the things that I'm super excited about from a licensing perspective, and once you guys get to the application suite, is that you now have tools you can use to manage compliance for you. So there is, underneath this license consumption, right, there is a, you can log in, you can kind of see, what your entitled capacity is, what your peak usage has been. You can define it for different, dates and time periods, right? So today, yesterday, a week ago, a month ago, so on and so forth. There is a toggle where you guys can define whether or not compliance will be enforced. So let's say that I had a pool of 100 AppPoints and I had 10 users who were all 10-point concurrent users, and number 11 tries to log in. If compliance enforcement is turned off, it will allow number 11 in. If compliance enforcement is turned on, it won't. It'll give them a message saying, not enough licenses, you have to come out and you have to come back at another time. Now, if you have it turned on, it will track the total denials here. So, you could log in monthly and, take a look at this and say, oh man, we have a bunch of people who are getting rejected and getting locked out of the system. Maybe we need to buy some more AppPoints, right? If you have it turned off, it'll show you how much you've gone over by. The overage is not a choice. You have to go, you want to get right with the IBM licensing folks. So, but again, it does give you tools to monitor this and so that you don't have to go through those, those painful audits that I'm sure many of you have been through in the past. So, now, how do you maintain compliance until you get to the application suite? I have numerous customers who have decided to make the shift to application points, even though they're still on 7612, some are on 7613. Right, they have already decided to make this leap because they want to start taking advantage of the fact that they now have entitlement to everything. So some folks decided to roll out HSE, other folks want scheduler, right? So they made the switch. I have some that did it as far back as almost 3 years ago now, that made that switch. They're on application points and they're able to go, even though they're still on 7612, they're able to go have access to everything that's in the suite. Now, obviously we know, getting up to Mass 8 is going to take a little bit of time if you haven't already started it. Definitely something you guys want to start planning for. But until you get up to Mass, if you want to maintain compliance, and I'm using air quotes because neither of these tools are official audit certified tools. However, if you show you're making an effort to try to maintain compliance, some of you may have run this magic script. There's a script that either myself or your business partner or IBM can send to you, and it looks at your current user pool base as if you were currently on application points, and it tells you kind of what your 3 high water marks are over the last 90 days. So you could run that monthly. Alternatively, there's a little utility that IBM built that you can install, and it gives you basically allows you kind of to do the same thing just inside the Maximo UI. But again, I want to stress these are not official audit certified tools. So, but at least it's something to help you understand where you're at. All right, just some key dates. And so while this isn't necessarily specific to licensing, I want to make sure, and you guys, there may have been other presentations today that have already gone over these, but I want to make sure you are aware of these dates for based on the next slide that I'll show in just a second. So Maximo 7612 end of support is December 31st, 2023. The last iFix will be, released sometime sometime next month. And then after that, there will be no more fixes or support offered for 7612. You can upgrade to 7613. It's been out, oh gosh, a couple months now at least. But you can upgrade to 7613, and then the end of support for that will be September 30th, 2025. And then beginning in 2024, any fixes or anything that IBM releases is only going to be for the 7613 platform. For those of you that might have Control Desk, are some various version information here. Basically, you're going to get to 7615 if you have IBM Control Desk. So now, reason why I wanted to bring those up. What happens if you don't get upgraded until after September 30th, 2025? So IBM will offer, and this is a recent announcement. If your current entitlements are the traditional entitlements, so you're still on the 761 part numbers, that kind of first slide I showed, the traditional license types, right? The full use, the limited use, the express, etc. You can purchase sustained support and or extend support. If you want to buy extend support, you also have to pay for sustained support. So you can see here what will and will not be included in that. So one point that I want to stress, because I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of my customers, there will be no monthly security patches that are released. Now, if you happen to install a Windows security patch and it impacts Maximo, you can, if you have extend support, you can report a critical Sev 1 issue. It may or may not get resolved. It's all going to depend on the level of effort that it's going to take to fix it. If it's going to take months, something like a Log4j, if you guys all remember that from a couple of years ago, chances of IBM providing a fix are pretty much non-existent. All right. So if it's something they can fix quickly, the IBM CSO will take a look at it, and they may or may not, if that particular security, like Windows security fix you applied impacted Maximo, they may or may not apply a fix for it. Now, if you move to AppPoints, and whether you're going to move, sometime in the next, next few months, IBM will, as introduced, will provide dual entitlement support for an additional 18 months after the September 30, 2025 date. Now, fundamentally is really just sustained support. It's all the same things that you see here. So you still won't get monthly fixes, security fixes, things like that, but at least they'll answer the phone for an additional 18 months. So I think, where am I at on time here? Let's see, 2:15. That's pretty much. I do have a couple of poll questions here. All right, so first poll question. So, has your company already had an in-depth review of your licensing? If you haven't, and you would like assistance with that, you can give me a call. You can talk to your business partners. You can talk to IBM, right? So, you want to go ahead and answer that? Give it a minute or so. All right, so roughly looks. Several of you have, that's great. All right, I'll go ahead and close that. I don't see any more changes. And basically, so the poll results are 62% yes, 38% no. All right, and let's see, the next poll question is, what is your timeline for an update or upgrade to Mass? Are you currently upgrading? Do you have plans to do so in 2024, or you're waiting till the 11th hour? All right, so we have a couple that are currently upgrading. The majority of folks are planning it in 2024, and honestly, that tracks with what we're seeing. And yes, I do see the those waiting till 2025. That also, we do have a few folks that are waiting for that as well. So give another maybe 10 seconds, and I will close the poll. All right, so let's see. So, all right, about 58% planning to upgrade in 2024, 12% currently upgrading, and 30% waiting until 2025. So, I think, let me see if there's any questions really quick.
Yep, you got a handful of good questions there.
Okay, and I apologize. I know you showed me this, and I am not seeing them.
You should be able to see the question drop down, and then you can undock it.
There, okay.
Yep.
Well, let's see. Hold on a second. Sorry, I'm not a go-to meeting. We actually practiced this, and I'm having, let's see. There we go. Good. All right, is manage considered one module? So underneath the application suite, fundamentally, yes, it's one component of the application suite, right? It's not, when we say module, it's not like a Maximo module, right? It is one offering underneath the application suite. So as far as the save access and that we were talking about, that kind of determines limited base premium, that's all about the Maximo modules, the manage/Maximo modules. By the way, old habits die hard. It's taking me a little bit to continue calling it manage, but I'm working on it. But yeah, so it's from the licensing perspective, Maximo doesn't count. Maximo manage doesn't count as one module. It's within the app. It's within manage that those license levels are going to apply. The health and predict utilities, that is an add-on that has some specific formulas and models that are specific to the utility industry. The visual inspection is actually, if you guys have not had a demonstration of this yet, I think I'm pretty excited. It's a pretty cool tool. Basically, it's a tool that allows you to take pictures of things and then train what's good and bad. So for example, if I the tool you use to go take a picture, it's agnostic, right? I could do drone flyovers of utility lines, and I see vegetation growing over it. So maybe I want to create a work order to go out and have somebody clean that, to cut back those trees. Or maybe I'm have a drone flying over a pipeline. I have a joint in that pipeline. I see the ground is wet below. Maybe we want to have somebody go out and look, make sure there's not a leak, right? Or it could be, you could have in a manufacturing sense, right? You can take images of the products that are produced, so what's good and bad. And if a bad product comes off the line, then maybe you got to go recalibrate, something, some piece of equipment in that assembly line. So it's a pretty cool little tool. You might want to definitely, talk to reach out to me, talk to your business partner, talk to your IBM rep to get a demo of that. Is Monitor Mobile included in base user? Yes. So back on this slide here, let me just close that up real quick. Right, so it starts here. But if you have a base user who also needs to use mobile, that's included, right? If they have more than 4 modules or 3 modules, then they would bounce up here. So the answer is yes, it's included. It's included at all levels, actually. So let's see. 3+ is modules like work orders, regardless. The answer, so this next question, the 3+ modules, that regardless of whether they're using work order tracking, quick reporting, etc. The answer is yes. It can be one application in the module or all applications. It still just counts as one module. So the example you gave, right? We know the work order module has work order tracking, quick reporting, labor reporting, service requests. If you have an industry solution, it could have different flavors of each of those. So the answer is yes, it will. It's just one module. Again, whether they have access to all or just one, it's just that one. So basically, until when can I purchase new or additional 7.6 licenses? From what I'm hearing, it's going to be April of next year that they will quit selling 7.6 licenses. So let's say you're on 7.6 licensing today, your company acquires another company, and now you have a whole new pool of users you need to roll out. You get those licenses before, if you want to stay on the 7.6 entitlements for right now, or move to AppPoints. I have several customers who, by moving to AppPoints, they really increase the size of their number of users that they could deploy out to because of the flexibility with it. Okay. A question is, if you're AppPoint dual entitlement, if you're on the AppPoint dual entitlement, do you need to purchase extended support after 2025 or so the September 2025 to April 2027? Sustained support is included. Extended, I basically have this question into IBM for some clarification. Worst case scenario, let me go back to that slide. Worst case scenario, you can purchase extended if you want to be able to report critical sub 1 defects, all right? If you don't need it, you don't need to report those, and all you want to do is be able to go download if somebody else had reported something, then sustain fundamentally is included with AppPoints, right? That's what's part of that dual entitlement support. Now, if you do want extended, worst case, it's going to be 20%. Like I said, I have a note into IBM to see if there's any flexibility on that, or how we, how we would go, what the cost would be for that. Just don't have an answer yet. Did I answer? How are we doing on time? Are we?
We are a bit over. This is the last session of the day. There is a few questions left. I can send those to you, Trish, and you can follow up with those folks individually if that's okay.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
Okay, perfect. Well, I appreciate your time, and I appreciate everybody attending today. We will convene tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern for day 2.
All right, very good. And if you have any questions, you want to reach out directly, here's my contact info.
Perfect. Thanks, Trish.
All right. Have a great day, everyone.
Take care.